Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Hot Mic with SSJ. My name is Stephen St. John, and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. And this is definitely an episode you are going to want to watch on YouTube, and also download wherever you download your favorite podcasts. We are available everywhere, and right now this is going to be, I think, a very exciting episode. So we did this on the TV portion of my radio show several years ago. I don't know, maybe a decade ago, who knows. But, and you know that my dad, Steve St. John Sr., is going to be a regular guest here on Hot Mic with SSJ. And so a lot of people have asked me over the years, when are you going to have your dad prepare another fresh, hot batch of jailhouse nachos, prison nachos, depending on what part of the country you're from, that's what you call it. And so someone that has been on my ass to do this, and remember, Mike, we can cuss. Phil, you better not. You're 18. You're a young man.
He's a gentleman.
That's exactly right, and you're a gentleman. And so Mike Boddicker's been on me to have my dad once again prepare the prison nachos. And my son, Phil St. John, has wanted to be a part of this. And so we have special guests in studio, along with my dad, the 1983 ALCS MVP and one of the stars of the Border Patrol, Mr. Mike Boddicker, and freshman at UMKC, where he is enrolled in the Launchpad program of the Block Business School, Mr. Phil St. John. Phil has skipped class to be here, which I'm not sure how I feel about that. He says that he won't.
Rose.
He says I won't miss nothing, and so his words to my ears. Hopefully, that's a true statement, but.
Following
Mike,
in his father's footsteps.
Right. Well, I just skipped class. I didn't have any reasons. There was
you
no
go.
podcast for me to go to. And so, Mike, you're very excited. You made a
I
special
am.
trip in here.
I've been on your ass for a long time.
That's right.
Your initial jailhouse nachos were fabulous.
How long ago was that?
It had to be 4 years ago.
I
at
think it was
least.
more,
Maybe
yeah.
5.
Who
I'm
knows?
not sure, but
I don't remember nothing.
I've been wanting them and I've been on you.
Right.
When is your dad going to come in and make jailhouse nachos?
And so
Border Patrol.
yeah.
It never happened. Last year you had it all set up, and then COVID hit,
Right.
and nothing.
And so now, because of the wonders of this podcast, our new studio, and being on YouTube, more people can enjoy this. Phil St. John, if you want to step in there to the mic real quick, you're going to be like the sous chef. You're going to be running back and forth between here and the microwave. How excited are you to enjoy your grandfather's jailhouse nachos? And as Grandpa says, you don't have to go to prison to enjoy these, because normally that's the prerequisite, and you don't want to do that. So are you very excited?
I am excited. I've been hearing about these for a very long time.
What a deep voice. What an
I told you,
unbelievable
the
radio
kid's
voice.
got
from-
a-
He liable to take your place.
Right, well, that doesn't
That
take a
wouldn't
whole
take
lot.
much, yeah.
Trust me.
No,
It's
it really
true.
wouldn't, no.
And so, okay, so Dad, go and lean in the mic when you talk here, and I want you to tell us. Let's get the origin story about this, okay? And so the first episode that you were on the podcast with us, you told us about some of the stops that you made in your tour of the federal penitentiary system. And so tell me where you were the first time that you prepared these jailhouse, or what do you call it, jailhouse or prison nachos? What do you prefer?
Jailhouse.
Jailhouse nachos. Where were you? How did you come up with the idea? Just take us through the what led up to your first batch of jailhouse nachos, please.
Well, when I surrendered myself at Leavenworth,
Get up on the mic here. Come on now.
when I surrendered myself at Leavenworth in 1990, I believe it was.
Yes.
Could have been 89.
Well, it was 90.
So the guards made me nachos. They said they was glad to have me there. No, I'm just kidding. I knew a lot of inmates there. They were waiting on me. They had a job for me, clothes, and they made jailhouse nachos for me.
It was the Leavenworth Welcome Committee welcoming you,
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Okay.
I've only had them 2 times for me, once when I went in and once when I got out, and about 9 years apart. So this
Right.
is kind of a special deal.
Okay, so they prepared them for you. Do you remember who prepared them for you?
Bob Farrar.
Okay, Bobby Ferrara made them for you. And then you became the guy. How often did you make these behind the walls?
I made them a lot.
And so very popular. And so the first question that many people have, because we don't know, how available are these necessary ingredients? First, tell us what you had to do to get your hands on all the ingredients necessary to make jailhouse nachos. Because, I mean, you can't You can't run to Hy-Vee. Well, I mean, you could, but you probably wouldn't make it back. But
You could,
well,
but,
right.
it's extra time.
So how did you get? What was available to you in Leavenworth?
You just had to go to the kitchen and steal them.
Okay.
I mean, there's no
That's
other
how
way
you
to
go to
put it.
prison to begin with.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that
No.
doesn't seem like that's
No, it's no
productive.
big.
So
Yeah,
you'd go.
so,
So you'd go. So how would you take us through that? How do you steal
Well,
it from
you get somebody that works in the kitchen,
right?
which wasn't hard to find, and they would come out, with vegetables that they had in the kitchen, and they'd sneak them under their apron or something.
Where were they? Where were
The
they
guards were pretty
sneaking?
lazy to-
Where? No, stop. Right. Where would they smuggle the
Their pants, right?
No,
like the
I
big
wouldn't eat
peppers.
'em
Like,
that.
you sure?
I'm positive.
They would know.
I'm
Steve, I got a
working-
pepper for you here. Come
I'm
find
working
it.
while I work, while I talk.
And you're using.
That's what I wanted to find out.
Razor blade.
He's got a razor blade. I'm sitting there going,
You're not in anymore. You could use kitchen utensils, but you want to stay.
It's got to be original.
how did you get those?
Yeah, how did you get the?
In
I feel like
prison.
well, I don't know that that's necessary to pull out this knife here, but that's a whole other story.
I guess that'd be easier to hide than that
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
So
You guys wouldn't want to see me use that.
That's a
okay?
friend
Now I haven't served, but I've seen enough movies and documentaries. You're not supposed to have a razor blade.
That's what I said.
in,
Well,
jail, are
there's
you?
different departments, like I told Mike. They've got a paint in there. They've got a plumb. The inmates run the place.
Right.
So they've got to have razor blades.
Kind of like Major League Baseball,
Right.
huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So how would you get your hands on a razor blade?
Get somebody in the paint department to steal one.
Okay, so they'd smuggle the.
Smuggle razor blade.
So you have the
know.
razor
You know what
blade,
those are for with painting?
right?
Scraping around windows and
That's
stuff.
all.
to
Okay,
take the
and so
painting
that's
off.
that's why you
Yeah,
got them.
That's why I have them at
That's
home.
right. That's
So
right.
so did the guards turn a blind eye to this?
You
I
know
mean,
what?
we just
If-
let you
if
prepare
the guards
this.
get hungry just like anybody else.
So you had to take care of the guards.
If we had a nacho party, and the guards would come up on it, listen, man, here, just eat and don't talk,
So where would you prepare this at?
In usually somebody's dorm or cell, we'd.
How many people would be in the dorms? Like,
Well, in the dorm there'd be like 50,
Right.
At least 50.
or you could do it in the cell. Okay,
Or you
so
could do it in the cell, which would be 2.
okay, what
know.
did you have access to? So you had the razor blade, you had the vegetables and the ingredients.
How do you get the chips?
I mean, did
The
you have?
chips you'd buy those in the commissary.
You could get them. Okay.
You could get chips in the commissary.
Okay.
And the cheese kitchen again. This is Velveeta cheese, and that's no different than the commissary cheese that you get on the street. Welfare
Right.
cheese and all that. So they had plenty of that. So they didn't care how much you took of that.
So you have Velveeta cheese, you have peppers, you have milk, you have tomatoes, you have onions. You were able to get all this stuff behind the walls in Leavenworth.
Yeah.
Okay, so where would you get the milk? Kitchen, commissary, where's that?
Kitchen.
Okay.
And
So you steal the stuff from the kitchen, and I'm starting to understand that
He
maybe
does a better job dicing with a
Right?
razor blade than I do with a regular
I'm
knife.
starting,
Yeah.
I'm starting to figure out that the security wasn't great at Leavenworth, was it? I mean,
you know what is as good as they want it to be,
well,
I guess.
didn't seem like they,
But,
they wanted it to be very.
Obviously, you weren't a threat to these guards.
No, they knew we just wanted to eat. That's all.
Right.
It's like getting stuff smuggled in prison. They know that we didn't want drugs. My group of guys, we just wanted to eat.
What did I have
You
to
probably
smuggle?
could ask my son about
right.
smuggling sausage in,
Well,
where he smuggled it.
You know,
Jamaica's.
let me tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd have to go down to La Salle's Deli down in the North End, and yes, I would have to smuggle sausage in to Leavenworth, and we can't talk about how I smuggled it in. Just know I didn't get caught, and the sausage was in one piece. So,
And he did a good job.
thank you. And I still do it to this day, even though I visit no one in prison, just to bring back memories. So you're dicing the onions, right? So tell us, if people want to make this, you know what? Thanksgiving's right around the corner. What
right
better
there.
way to celebrate with friends and family to gather the kids around the fireplace and make some jailhouse nachos? And so give us a list of all the ingredients that you need to make this the right way.
Well, what I got here is onions,
Right?
bell peppers, tomato, and I like extra tomato.
That's right.
And any kind of hot pepper. I got serrano peppers here.
Okay.
And like I said, bell peppers. And you need a block of Velveeta cheese. And I've got that. And when you melt the cheese in the microwave, and yes, we did have microwaves, And so we would melt the cheese.
Where was the microwave? Was it in the dorm with you guys?
Yeah, it would be in the dorm because, see, a lot of people don't trust the government. They don't want to go eat. They don't trust them. They don't trust the guards. They don't trust
You
nothing.
don't want to eat the food that's there that they're
No.
giving you in the was it the
No.
mess
So
hall? or
you're
what?
saying basically our country's in kind of like it being in prison.
Well, we had a bunch of Jakes there.
Yeah, Jake would have
Yeah.
fit in very well. It
Jake,
seems like
Jake
at
says he
Leavenworth.
can't trust anybody.
Right,
in the government,
right.
So.
Except for the aliens.
That's
Jake,
exactly
yeah,
right.
exactly.
The alien.
Jake
And what-
wouldn't eat there either.
And
So
episode 2 of our conversation with Jake will take place next
Yeah.
week. So good
Are you
luck.
going to talk about the aliens?
Yeah, he's going to get into how
good,
aliens
good, good.
are absolutely among us. Okay, so you're dicing the onions, you get all this stuff, so then you have the microwave that's there available to you.
Yeah.
So did you always use the microwave, or did you have to ever get creative? Like, do you always have access to all this
use
stuff?
the
So,
microwave.
okay, so you
If
use the
somebody
microwave.
was in it,
You
we
wanna-
just tell them to move.
Right.
You didn't want to start a fire. in
Did
the
you
dorm.
ever have nachos while you were watching Dan Rather back in jail?
No,
'Cause
it
we
was all
remember
Dan Rather at that time.
that story. Okay, and so how many what you're preparing right now? How many inmates would this feed back in
You
the day?
figure for each bag, it'll feed 2.
Right.
So I got 5 bags. It should feed 10 to 15.
Okay, so then you have to get trash bags too, right?
Mike might have to feed his family.
Right, that's exactly right. So
That's
you
why I got extra.
but you used to get trash bags also was something you get from the
Yeah,
commissary.
trash bags. You do have to be careful that the trash bags you buy now sometimes are lined with that whatever it is, bug juice or whatever.
Ooh.
But these bags are not like that.
Right.
I've got good bags.
You had to get the good bags.
Yeah.
And so did you ever make a shiv out of a spoon or a fork or anything like that? Nothing like that?
No, I'm good with a razor.
Okay, so did you keep the razor afterwards? Did
Yeah.
you dispose of
I
that
just hide
just
it.
in case? Where would you hide the razor at?
Well, I guess I can tell
Yeah,
it
no, I mean,
now.
I look. Well, you got to give it.
Unless
He
you're
looks
going
at me
back.
like, right?
Yeah, yeah,
no,
I'm
like,
going
if,
back.
where did you hide the
in-
razor
in
at?
the locker up in the where the deal bent over.
Right?
Hide it up in there. They would never run their hands up in there because
You get cut.
if it's the wrong way, it's their ass.
So how often
So-
would they search everything? Or
Maybe once a week, you know.
right? But you knew, so you would put the you'd have the razor up in the locker. And so,
Or probably in an undisclosed area,
Okay.
an area that's a common area.
right?
So when they found it, I mean, whose is it?
Yeah, it could be anybody's.
It's one of those 50 guys. Hell,
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't want to put it in your locker because then that answers the question right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so this was in 1990 in
1990.
Leavenworth, and you're making this. Mike, so far, what do you think? Are you going to start preparing food with a razor blade
No,
based on
I'm
what
just
you're
looking-
saying?
I'm just looking for any red on the onions because I
Right.
know he cut himself if there is.
Oh, did he? Oh,
I don't know.
oh,
No,
Just
not
wa-
yet.
I'm just waiting.
yeah. Well, we're hoping
If
he
you
does.
do, I'll change the knife.
Yeah, that could end our jailhouse nachos experiment.
Oh, and nothing in this.
Right. That's right.
You know, this would be good for a food truck and just put jailhouse nachos on the side
Now
and
you
serve
didn't, you
them.
didn't name it prison nachos. You jailhouse. Is that for Elvis?
Yeah, that's what I say, jailhouse.
Yeah,
nachos.
jailhouse rock.
Some people say prison nachos, but in the jailhouse,
Right. You don't like it.
jailhouse is
That's
jailhouse.
what Elvis said. And that's
Jailhouse
what I'm
nachos
hearing.
a little
right.
bit more classy than just saying the prison nachos.
Yeah.
And so now, how many guys were in there in Leavenworth like at one time? Because this was the minimum security when you were doing this. So a couple hundred. Like how many total?
About 300,
And so-
350, somewhere like that.
I would imagine if you're in there and you're on the outside looking in, like you want to be a part of this, but you had to be a friend of yours
No,
or
you
someone
had to
special.
be somebody to
You had
get in this deal.
Right. So how could someone gain entry into the jailhouse nacho circle?
we-
Club?
Yeah,
Yeah,
into the club.
exactly.
Because that's a big deal. Like
Yeah,
if you're
sure.
behind the walls, you want
We
to.
used to have guys come up there and say, "Hey, how can I get in? You can't. Keep moving.
right?
You know, we don't need nothing. Keep moving." Because those guys usually toll on somebody anyway, so you don't want them involved in nothing. Just move on.
So no snitches for the.
No snitches.
No snitches for the.
Snitches got stitches.
Well,
That's what that thing's for.
much
Yeah.
rather have the jailhouse nachos than the stitches. I can promise
Yeah.
you that. So we're still on the end. There's a lot of onions.
Usually it was just real close friends of mine that was from my same neighborhood and stuff down the north end, and
So all you guys end up in Leavenworth?
yeah. Well,
So how did that? Because you're talking about this, just like
All my
like 10
friends,
guys
you know, they
all
were
from
here,
the
I'm
same.
going-
How in the hell did y'all end up in Leavenworth together?
well,
That North
I mean,
End must have been something.
yeah, it was. Well, the problem was is I lived up above La Sala's Deli. And the big problem is we couldn't figure out who they were watching. The FBI was up on a guy used to call me, he said, FBI is sitting right outside my store. I said, well, who they watching? He said, hell, I don't know. There's about 10 guys that are doing something down here, so who the hell knows?
Right.
And that was the truth. Oh, they got confused down there. I mean, it was just everybody lived down there that was anybody, and who knew who they was watching? Nobody knew. But
were they tapping phones and everything?
We finally found out.
Right. Well, yeah.
One
right.
of them was me.
Right.
And a lot of times you don't know what they're doing. I've had people say, "Oh, there's a click on the phone. I gotta go."
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, there's a click on the phone, okay. But and what I did is I'd get a phone, okay.
Right.
It looked like a cordless phone, and it had over, I don't know, probably 20,000 different codes on it, and I give one to a friend of mine that I was kind of doing business with in Chicago, and I had one. So when I'd call him, I'd say, "What's up?" And he'd say, "Hang on," and he'd click it, and you'd see the buttons, and if it turned up green on both ends, we're good to go. If it turned up red, see you later. And
Yeah, wait. Where did you get this? Where would you get this phone at?
well, here you got to buy it certain places, and-
We're talking 30 years ago. We can tell you. Where
Yeah.
did you get it? Where did you get the damn
and
phone?
so we got this. and it
Enough
worked.
of the
No,
fucking secrets. It's been 30
I
years.
understand what he's talking about
We
because
did-
when I got my pool table, my blackjack table, and my slot machines, they brought it in. Yeah, Meatball. And
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, but
They
say you
had
gotta-
Nino up there, and
Yeah.
Nino goes, "You don't want to know."
Right.
Yeah.
You don't.
But
wanna
I do
know."
wanna
That's all
know.
he kept saying. I
Or
said,
you
"No,
just
no,
tell them, I
you
got a
don't
guy.
wanna know."
I got a guy.
I
So,
got a guy you don't want to know.
Okay, so help me. So I remember at our house, you had something attached to the house phone.
That was it. I just carried it with
Same
me.
thing, right?
Yeah.
And so you'd have it plugged in there, and I remember you'd pick up the phone, and it would be either, like you said, all green
You
was
still got
good.
it. Good
Yeah, you see that? Great. Former Gold Glove Award winner, Mike
wanna
Boddicker
run
just
any
saved a
tomatoes.
tomato. So
So what did your wife say about this with the phone and all the
Well,
other stuff?
I was never home, really.
You
I
just
mean,
said it was on your home phone.
you want me to tell you?
I'd stop by
That
and
son
use
of a
the phone.
bitch. That's what she would say.
Yeah.
Uh,
I was the worst husband in the world, bar none.
Bar none.
His mom was probably one of the best women I've ever met in my life. She just got with me too early. It took like 40 years to tame me down.
was she,
So basically, she was a saint.
Oh, absolutely.
she became a St. John. And so,
And-
but she met you. How old were you when you met my mom? You were 20.
I was 20.
And
Yeah.
she was 33. And you had just come home from Vietnam.
Yeah.
And so, 20 years old. You still had some
and
things
then,
to do.
I really didn't want to get married, but her dad says, "Oh, I think you do." Well, I guess I do. And I'm not saying I wouldn't. I'm just saying that's what he said.
He suggested it.
That'd be the right thing to do.
And
I
when,
said, yeah,
and
you're
when
right,
Danny
you know.
Ontivero suggested
Yeah.
something, it was a
So,
good idea to
yeah,
follow
it was a
through.
Good idea. So.
And you guys went to Oklahoma and got married, didn't you?
Yeah, Miami. J.J. Sweetenham, I'll never forget him.
All right.
Yeah, so anyway, and it took her, it was just too early for me. Shit, I'm 70 years old. My wife still got me on 360. You know what 360 is?
No, tell me
When
about
I
it.
leave the house, she knows where I'm going.
Let me tell you.
She'll say, "Where you been?" I said,
You better answer right.
"You know where I've been. You got the damn GPS on me." And that's now at 70 years old. What the hell was I like then?
Right. And so my mom.
Do
and
you have one of those things around your leg that they
It's-
follow you?
Well, I mean,
should.
it's on my phone. You can look at it.
So for people that don't know, my mom passed away in 2006, right? And so some of these stories, like what you're talking about, and I preach to Phil's here. This is the first time he's heard some of these things. But like you said, you weren't home a lot, but we had those things hooked up to the phones, and we weren't
everything.
sure, and you didn't know, and that was kind of a different deal to grow up around, right? And I remember also, like it was a different deal, right? But you always had a bunch of weapons. You had every kind of possible gun. I mean, you had a riot gun. Like, what are all the different guns that you had? You had
Automatic shotgun.
You had
and
stun. We had. You were the
stun
first
gun.
when they first came out, and I remember.
You mean you're not supposed to?
Well, but so when I remember, do you remember when we used to go down to Bob Jones Sales, right?
Ooh, Bob Jones shoes.
And there was a guy down there that you guys paid to see if the stun gun worked.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Oh no!
Can you?
Earned his
Yeah. Oh
money,
yeah.
too.
Can you tell us? Can you give us? Can you
I
take?
said,
'cause I
listen,
re-
to some guy?
I
I
told
was
Bob
there for that
Jones'
one, yeah.
son, I said, Bob, can I talk to Ed for a minute? He said, don't do that
Oh,
again.
Ed.
I said, Ed, listen, here's $20. This is a new stun gun, and they're saying it's better. I'm not doing that again. I said, 25. That's the best I can do. And I took him outside and hit him with that, and he dropped like a hot potato. And that Bob Jones told me, he said, man, you got to quit doing that. He ain't worth a shit the rest of the day. And I said, well, how do I know if it works? I'm not going to lose it on myself.
Right.
And so, yeah, it was
How many times did Ed fall for that one? I mean, $25 a pop. 'Cause, I mean,
quite a bit.
Yeah, I feel like I saw it at least 2 or 3
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
Did you really?
Oh yeah.
he-
Oh Ed, and Ed was like, yeah, I don't know, but then my dad would,
So
he would say no at 20, but somehow 25 got it done.
Let me ask you something. Did you shoot him in the head the first time to be able to do this again and again and again?
No,
Because
yeah,
there's no way,
you would think.
unless you had something wrong with
Or
your
you, or
head.
you needed $25, you know.
But and I remember you had like secret compartments in your car. I mean, but
Yeah,
like,
I did.
but you gotta understand, like for me, like 12
was-
years
that was
old,
normal
13
growing
years
up?
old. Yeah, but it was
It
like,
was, yeah, it
but it was like
was.
James Bond shit. And there was like, I knew like we had a deck in our backyard with an above ground pool in it, and there was like secret compartments there. And one time, it's me. People, you know that you tell me to do something, then I'm gonna do it. And like I'm sneaking, I look in there, and there's like a gun and some like I better put that one back, And there's like secret compartments in the car and all these other different things, and then these things that are on the phone that will tell you if someone's listening or not. And we talked about that though in the first episode.
Yeah.
That shit had to be exhausting. Because you were always wondering if somebody was listening to your phone call or somebody was
Well, now I
following
know.
you. Well, yeah, they were. And you had to hide this and do what are some of the other things you tried to do to evade surveillance?
I mean, there was a guy, and I can say it now because he's
Please.
dead.
Well.
He owned a real nice upholstery shop. And he made a deal with me and some other guys that he knew. He said, if I make some compartments for you and you can find it, you don't pay me. Now we're talking about $500 or $600 back then. I said, okay.
This is late 80s.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I says, here's a 38 revolver or 38 snub nose. I said, now I want it within reach. And I says, if I can find it, then he said, yeah, that's the deal. I said, okay. Then I said, I need another compartment for money. He said, okay. And he said, if you can find that, you don't have to pay me either. I said, deal. So I went to pick it up.
And what kind of car was this? Do you remember? Was it the
Lincoln,
Okay.
Thank
Town
you.
car?
brand new town car.
Ooh,
Yeah.
those are
Carriage
nice.
top.
And,
Oh, that-
and,
yeah,
and I
that's-
could,
that's
and
nice.
when I went
Black
back,
body, white top.
Very nice.
so I couldn't find this gun first. I looked at.
So you're sitting in. So are you sitting in the driver's seat or are you just looking everywhere
I'm
for
sitting in
compartment?
the driver's seat because obviously you can't grab a gun if it's under your ass.
Right. Well,
So I knew that it had to be within hand reach, and I could not find it. Well, when he got in there, he sat in the driver's seat, and he just reached over there because if you remember, those Lincolns were plush.
Oh, yeah, plush.
Oh, they were plush. And he just took it, did a karate chop, and that deal went zoop, and it was right in that seat. And you could sit in that seat, Mike, and you would have no idea that it's in there. And he had to cut it out. I mean, it's fit perfect like a puzzle. I said, well, you got me there.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I said,
Cost
well,
you $500, didn't it?
oh yeah, but it was worth it. I said, where's the other deal that I need for the money? He said, well, you find it. And so this is before I got some electronic shit.
So
which-
you were chopping the hell out of everything trying to
yeah.
find that money.
So
Right.
I'm looking for this money and looking for
Karate
this
chopping
money.
every part of
And
that
I can't
Lincoln.
find shit. I said, you know what? I can't. I just can't find it. So he says, lay your seat back all the way back. And you know those seats lay down like
yeah.
a bed. So I laid all the way back, and he says, take your longest finger, which
Hey, hold on here.
ain't very long. So he says, reach up where the door handle's at. He said, reach up there as far as you can. He said, when you think you can't get any farther, reach some more. And there was a wire that was like an L shape, and you just pull it, and that whole panel came out. Just fell down on him.
See, that's the one I remember. I didn't know about the one, the karate chop one. I
Yeah.
knew about the one back there.
And then
So you were stealing money from your
Well,
old
I
man?
know. I just knew about
Yeah,
it.
he
Maybe I
did.
did. Maybe I didn't.
So later on, he said, man, I got a new one. I said, what is it? He says, it's electronic. I said, you know, I got to have it. So he had a deal that was made behind the speedometer that you could hit a button, and you had to really hit the right button, a combination of buttons. The goddamn speedometer would open up, and there was a. I mean, these things, and I had got pulled over. I had a cop that didn't like me pull me over, and
That's hard
remember
to
that?
believe.
Huh?
That's hard to believe.
You want me to say his name?
Yeah, Fred Phillips.
Phillips.
Fred, if you're still out there, I ain't forgot. So anyway,
No, okay. So tell me if I'm wrong. I remember that they stopped you, and it was
on St. John.
close to the Lexington Bridge,
Yeah.
right? And he called mom, and me and mom showed up like down the block,
I had
and
9 cars out there. I said, well,
Yeah.
what's the problem?
you got.
You know what the problem is. I'm looking for that gun.
And later on, you got super pissed off at mom because she brought me up there, and I'm watching all this stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm freaking out because my instinct is, and I'm a stupid kid, but I want to run in there. Like, what am I gonna do? I want to protect my dad, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching everything, and I'll never forget this. I remember mom thinking, because they were looking at the back door,
He knew I had a gun.
Right.
I had a gun permit.
but mom kept saying, oh, God damn it, they're gonna find it. They're gonna find it. And she knew where it was. And I didn't know what she was talking about. I go, find what? So they had you pulled. Did they find any of these secret compartments?
No. He couldn't find his ass if it with both hands. You know? It'd take him an hour and a half to watch 60 Minutes.
That's too long. And so they never found any of those secret
He
compartments.
never found nothing.
Right.
And anyway, they took me to jail and put me on a 24-hour hold. And
Where were you?
Jackson County, I mean, you know, it was no big deal.
And this guy fucked with you all the time.
Those young guys thought I was something, you know.
Right.
And so I go to jail, you know. I'm going, what are you going to do, you know? So I'm in jail, and before they take me, right there in front of this guy's house, there was a guy that was a bookmaker for the mob. He was a
Right.
bookmaker.
Right.
He
no
yells,
mob here in
yeah,
Kansas City,
no,
was there?
no, it was out of Chicago. So he yells at me and he says, "Steve, you want me to make your bond?" I said, "John, I don't think there's going to be any bond." I said, "But if there is, yeah." So he was laughing and he said, "Man, Jesus Christ!" He said, "What did you do?" And I said, "That's just jack off," you know. So, I mean, it was just overkill, is what it was. So, long story short, I got out, and then I hired the wrong lawyer, and I can mention his name because he's the judge now, or he was,
Oh, who is it?
and Vernon Scoville.
Okay.
And I told Vernon, I said, "Burn this guy's ass, will you?" I said, "He's been bothering me forever." So Vernon, he comes into court and tells the judge, he says, "This guy's a real son of a bitch." And I said, "Oh, Vernon, don't do that." And that guy he was more pissed then than he was to begin with, because Vernon told me he was a son of a bitch. And so anyway,
Well, he was, wasn't he?
yeah, he was.
Do you remember? So this was back when they had the Italian festival up at the concourse.
Yeah.
And you remember I was walking around with my friends and he jacked with me.
Mm-hmm.
He came up and asked me, "Where's your dad at?" Or say hi to your dad for me or something like that. And I told you about that, and he jacked with me. He
Yeah, he
jacked
was a
with
piece of shit.
Well, there it is.
I mean, there's a deal where you know your job, do it, and be done with it. You know, I mean,
When's the last time you seen him?
it's been before I left.
Right.
You know, I'll probably see him now somewhere. But anyway, and everybody I talked to said the same thing. Other cops, "Oh yeah," I said, "he was a big prick." I said, "Yeah, he was." And so, anyway, And even if he would have found it, I had a damn permit because I was a bail bondsman. You know, what's he going to do?
You could have bonded yourself out just like that
Yeah,
and
I
charged you,
could've.
what, 10, 15%?
Yeah.
Right.
So, anyway.
By
that
Mike,
was-
he used to have me sometimes, and he had his bail bonding company was at 750 Ann Avenue in KCK, and so then sometimes overnight he'd have me stay there answering the phones. How do you think that went? Do you think I did a great job at about
ordering pizza and shit.
15 years old answering phones for the bonding company?
There was a
Right.
place called Leo's Pizza. I think it's the best pizza north of the river.
You know what? And it still is. And I had Leo's Pizza last week. Thank you very much. We used to go there
And I
after the
used to
Pius
see
games.
this guy when I drank at a certain bar we hung out at.
What bar?
Larry Strata's. At that
Strata's,
time.
yeah. Strata's,
Yeah.
which is now Caddyshack.
Right. And so Leo said, "Hey, Steve, how you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm doing okay." He said, "Oh, by the way," he says, I hate to even ask you." He said, "But you owe me $200. I said, "For what?" "Your son's got a credit account up there. He brings all those kids in from St. Pius and they get whatever they want." I said, "Oh, Jesus." So I'd give him $200. I didn't know nothing about no credit account.
So did you get your ass handed to you when you?
He
Not
wouldn't.
really.
He
He
was.
didn't-
He
I
would.
didn't care.
Well, he wasn't happy about it, but he paid it, and I knew he would, and so I would. I mean, I guess I would do some things, just test limits, because
like any
you
other
know,
kid.
and sometimes
You did that, right?
yeah, but see,
He
you know.
ain't nothing like his dad, trust
Right.
me.
And he wasn't
God.
home a lot. So I said, okay, well, let's do this. So I would go. So after St. Pius games, we go to Leo's Pizza, right? That was a
Everything
big deal.
on him or on me.
So I go in there, and my
big
buddy
wig, huh?
Tom and
Hey,
everyone
I'll
else.
take
Yeah,
care
that's
of it.
right.
Yeah, I
And,
got
we'd have a
this.
I'll
table
take
of like
that
10
check.
people.
I got
No,
this.
I got it.
I
got
got
it. And then Leo will be back there. He goes, I said, my dad said he's going to take care of everything, just start an account, and he'll settle up with you when he see you. Are you sure? I said, oh, I'm sure. And so I'm glad that was settled.
Yeah.
Did you pay everything off? Am I in good standing at Leo's? That's why I always
Yeah,
send Susan
because
there to
that
pick up
wasn't
the
the
pizza.
only time it happened.
It wasn't. What would you say? How
Other
much?
places you had tabs other
That
places.
fucking
No,
kid,
it was at Leo's over and over
Leo's,
again.
okay,
Yeah,
all right.
I wore that out.
who knows?
Well, maybe
You
I
know,
did.
So anyway, yeah, it was. I mean, here, if that's the worst thing he does, I'm in good shape.
Right.
You know, I know one time we never let him go anywhere.
Oh, here we go.
I know we're getting off the beaten path, but you probably need to hear this. My wife would never, ever, never, ever let him go anywhere and spend the night. She was very protective. I didn't give a shit. I mean, I knew that he'd be okay, but she didn't believe that. There's a cold world out there. So
Well, he did have your name.
yeah, I don't know about that. So he went down to a friend of his named Tommy, and Tommy's to this day is one of his best friends, Tommy Agusa. So he went down to North End and don't go nowhere. Don't you go nowhere. Just stay right here.
I had just turned
We're trusting
13. I was 12 or 13.
Yeah, we're trusting you. You know, your mom ain't never let you go because if somebody comes to our house, then it's okay. But you go to somebody else's house, you know. That's the first time you ever went to somebody else's house. So she told me
To stay the night. Yeah.
to stay the night. So she said, well, in your travels, she said, can you stop and check with him, see if he's okay? Yeah.
Now,
So-
in your travels,
Yeah.
what did that mean?
Which means I know you're not coming back.
Right. No, let me tell you. So his travels would be KCK, Northeast, Northland, KCK, Midtown, right?
Yeah.
All the time, all that you were, like I described in episode 1 of Hot Mike, you were always on your way someplace. You were always getting paged or called. You were always on your way to the next spot. So that's what she meant. In your travels, you were going to be somewhere at some point, right?
Popular.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, I stopped by there. No Steven, no Tom, nobody.
at Tom's, where Tom at his parents' house, right?
And I'm going, what the hell? Where are these kids at?
I'm supposed to be there down at
so
the North
I
End.
got a nephew that was his double cousin. I'll get into that later.
Oh, boy.
So I called him. I said, Tony, you find your cousin, and I mean find him right now, or there's going to be a problem. I know where he's at. He's up at the Concord. He's
I was
up
at the
there
reservoir.
at the reservoir drinking. I said, Jesus, that didn't take much to break you down. So I head up there to get him,
Shit.
and he ain't there. I said, well, I'm pissed now. What am I going to tell his mom? So I go back
Put Tony
down.
in trouble too, didn't it?
Yeah, no, he didn't. He was snitched and was going down the road. So I went down to see if they was back at the house yet. Okay, now remember I got that big '89 Lincoln.
And this is down at the north end, right down the street from where the original Garozos is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I pull up and they're out in the yard. So I said, Stephen, get over here.
Where-
I said, no, over here. I said, God damn it, over here at the car. I mean, he'd take about a half a step. He was scared to death.
Yes, I was.
I said, get
Wouldn't
your ass
you
in,
be?
Yeah, get your ass in the car. I expected him to get in the front seat. He gets in the fucking back seat. I said, what are you doing back there? He said, I just feel safer. And I had never touched him, ever. Okay? I just didn't do it. And so I said, well, whatever.
I thought it might be up in the air
Yeah.
on that night.
So anyway, he is sitting in the back seat. So we get home, and boy, he busts up the stairs, runs his room. So his mom says, "What the hell's the matter? What's going on?" I said, "Fuck, he's drunk."
Were you?
I said, "He's drunk." She said, "No, he's not." I said, "Hell, he ain't."
He's not
I
my
said, Trust
son.
me, I've seen drunks before, and that kid's drunk. And she said, "No," and I said, "Oh yeah, he's drunk. I don't know how drunk, but he's drunk." And you know, from then on, Mike, he never drank a drop all through high school. I don't think.
No.
And that
That's a
was
true story.
Put
That
fear
was
of
the
God
best
in you
cure.
Right there.
That was
It
the
was
best.
worth it then, wasn't it?
Huh?
It was worth it then.
Oh, it was worth it. Yeah.
I was the youngest kid in my class, and so I had just turned,
Give me a napkin.
let's see, 12, 13, 14. I was 16 when I was a senior, right? And I turned 17 my senior year. So I was the youngest kid. And this was the first week of being a freshman at St. Pius, right? And I think I was getting ready to turn 13. And I really never see now. Here's the other deal. My grandparents were from Mexico, right? And I'd be at family celebrations all the time at my grandparents' house, and I'd
have a little
have some wine,
Yeah,
have
have
some
a little bit,
whiskey.
yeah.
I'd be sneaking this and that. So it wasn't the first time I had drank away from my family, right?
I got
It was a
you.
different
Yeah, yeah.
deal, and so. Yeah, it was bad, and my mom was heartbroken, and she was
Oh, she
just
was, too.
crying and everything else, and he was mad and upset, and it was such a horrific experience for me. He's not kidding. So that was the first week of freshman year. I didn't drink again. I didn't have a sip of alcohol again until after I graduated high school, and then then look what happened to me. But so it scared me straight for about a good 4 years at least, and so. Okay, where are we at now? Getting back to the topic at hand,
I'm just
where are we
watching.
at now in the preparation process
And I've
of
seen this
the?
before.
Cutting
Before,
Doritos
jailhouse
now
nachos.
because we didn't have bowls in.
Right, so show people what you're doing. You're getting a regular bag of Doritos,
and cutting it in half.
cutting them in half, and so you get the chips out of there, but also the half of the bag serves as a bowl. And some people will see this. I've seen this done now at concession stands, like at high school football games or college football games, and they call this the walking nacho. No. That's the jailhouse nachos, and I think that you should get some type of royalty from
I
this
think
thing.
so too.
Right?
Or whoever's making them ought to go do some time.
Right. I don't know if that'll happen, but
That's how I ate them out of the bag,
Right.
bottom of the bag.
yeah, and so that's what we do here. And so you're cutting them up, and you put so Phil has a regular size
Yes, he does.
trash bag.
Not the scented kind.
No, you don't want that.
No, you don't
not with
Unless
the
you don't
Febreze.
like the guy, give me that.
And so you're dumping all the chips into the trash bag,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
And so
man.
what do you have chopped up here in the bowl?
I've got tomatoes, bell peppers, onion, and peppers.
All right, so you dice that up as fine as you can. Put that in the bowl.
He did all that with that little tiny.
You got to do it with a razor blade, or they're not jailhouse nachos.
Now-
all right.
Now
He
shake
will
that
not
up.
have any fingers left. I'm
Right.
watching him. I don't know how he didn't cut
Okay,
himself
we got the
behind
camera
him.
on this, so this is
Yeah,
the big.
here.
Okay, here.
Here
Where's
we
the
go.
camera
Now
at?
Is the milk for to put the fire out in my mouth?
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
just
And
checking.
so you take the veggies, dump them in there, okay? They're all in there now.
So all the chips and all the vegetables are in the trash
Now
bag.
you take this bag, and I'm going to show you once. Now, I wouldn't suggest to do this in prison, okay? So when I did this in prison, I got against the wall.
Right, you got to do it like you did. Okay, right.
I ain't standing out in the middle of the room. No, I ain't going down like that. So now at home, I'll have one of the girls do it.
Right. There we go.
But not tonight. You got to be careful. You got to think everything.
Okay.
So anyway,
You never want to do this in the shower, right?
nah,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No.
And so now I'm mixing up everything. Now I'm opening it up and seeing what I got. And I'm sure they mixed that pretty good.
So it's the chips and all the peppers,
You-
tomatoes,
you,
and everything
you
else.
shake it a little bit.
Come on, Phil.
Against
Hold
the
it
wall,
on,
okay?
against
Right.
the wall, yeah.
All right, just never.
Watch out for the camera right behind you.
Oh.
I saved him.
That was a trick,
Yeah.
and you fell for it.
Okay, so he's shaking everything up now. So now what do we got here? We got the Velveeta cheese.
Velveeta cheese.
Any block cheese will do. Doesn't have to be the name brand,
Well,
but we
well,
spare no
I'd say
expense here on
I
Hot
think
Mic with
Velveeta's
SSJ.
better
Smells
than-
nicer, doesn't
yeah.
it?
You know, Stephen, they got a new Velveeta out, and it's called Mexican Velveeta.
Oh yeah, I've had it. It's delicious.
And I've seen it, and I thought, well,
They got the queso blanco as well.
Yeah.
They got peppers in it, but you just go with the regular Velveeta cheese.
regular.
Very delicious. It'll
Oh,
bind
that's
you up
That's
for
where the
days. But
microwave comes in handy.
Yeah, I don't like to change my
I wouldn't.
MO. So
I don't. It was awful damn good last time I had
Right.
it.
Wasn't
I
it?
don't, I don't want to change anything, no.
that's good now.
Mike, what do you think of this so far? Is this something that would have? Do you wish you would have known this recipe when you were playing for the Royals or the Orioles? Because this is something you could have prepared
I tell you
in
what,
a
I might have
clubhouse.
tried it, yeah.
See?
I really would have.
Boy,
But I don't think I would have used a razor blade.
I bet you Wade Boggs and
think I
Oil
need
Can
my-
Boy
I
would have
think I
loved it,
needed
right?
my fingers.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So now you're cutting up the cheese with the razor
Cutting up
blade.
the cheese.
You can use a knife, but why be safe? And you could use a razor blade meant for
Well,
shaving.
you want to see original stuff.
Right, that's what we're here for. I need to get some of this on Snapchat, by the way. So how long usually is the process when you're not on the camera if you're actually just focusing on work?
I don't know. It depends on how many you're making.
Right.
You know.
And once again, we're with my father, Steve St. John Sr. He's preparing the Jailhouse Nachos with Mike Boddicker, former ALCS MVP, Gold Glove Award winner, All-Star, and all-around good guy.
Remember the 810 Border Patrol?
That's right.
right.
That's right. One of the
Okay.
stars
No,
of the
no,
Border
just a
Patrol on
member.
Sports Radio 810 WHB. Phil St. John here as the sous chef. Did you have a sous chef? Did you have an assistant back when
Oh,
you were in Leavenworth?
absolutely.
Who was your
I
assistant that
can't
helped you
do
out with all this
anything
stuff?
like that. I
Right.
don't know. Bobby Farrar usually, or
Bobby was your guy.
One of the guys from the Northland.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, one of
exactly.
his buddies.
We had runners. you
But it
know.
wasn't Officer Phillips. He never assisted in any of this, right?
I wish
Okay.
he would have been there.
Yeah, he
And he should have been. Crooked as his ass was. You know.
There's a lot to answer for, I think,
You know
coming
what?
out of
I
this
think I
podcast.
just grew up in the wrong time.
And
Yeah.
you know what? I'm
Well-
gonna tell you. I'm
Wrong
gonna
era.
tell you something how
Please
I am.
do.
And Mike, I'm not kidding you. And because I'm not gonna go into this deal, but you know, I've made about 10 or 15 podcasts with Gary's Gangland the Gangland
Right. Gangland Wire. Yeah.
Wire. I had a guy from my church, and yeah, I do go to church. He come up to me after church one day. He said, "Steve," he says, "I got a guy who wants to meet you." I said, "I usually don't like to meet people, but you know, who is it?" He said, "Well, he's a movie director." I said, "Well, I better meet him. You know, might want to make a movie." So anyway, he told me the name. I didn't know him. So anyway, long story short, we met at a Italian deli up the street from my house that my daughter owned the building. And we met up there to eat lunch. And I'm thinking, I don't even know what this guy looks like. Give me another napkin.
Yeah, give him that. Where's the napkin? Go get some more napkins out of the commissary,
bathroom.
please. In
Chop,
the bathroom,
chop.
whatever.
So
Come on, sous chef. We've got a time constraint
so
here.
comes a guy that on a motorcycle. I don't know, one of those leans up, you know, a race motorcycle. Seen him. Comes in, he said, "Hey, I'm Gary Jenkins." Gary Jenkins? Who's that? Well, he said, "Can we sit down?" And I'll explain it to you. I said,
Talking to the mic.
I said, "That's what we need to do, Gary." He said, "Well, remember years and years ago?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I was one of the ones that arrested you." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, I was the sergeant with the organized crime unit with the Kansas City Police Department. He said, I had some FBI agents come to me. He said, we need some help getting this guy, and we need you and your unit to help us get him. Yeah, because the FBI, I mean, they're usually, nothing against lawyers or accountants, but that's usually what they are. Washed out lawyers and accountants. So if they can't make money as a lawyer and accountant, ain't much good. I mean, so they become FBI agents. And so anyway, he said, yeah, he said, I was on your case. And he said, no hard feelings, is it? I said, listen, Gary, can I call you Gary? I said, there's no hard feelings. I said,
And right now the milk's going into the cheese. You chopped up the
milk's
cheese.
going in the cheese. So I said, there's no hard feelings. I said, you had to do what you do, and I had to do what I do. I said, no, it's no hard feelings. So he says, I got some podcasts I'd like to make on you, and da-da-da. And so he started making these podcasts. Then he wanted to make a couple of documentaries. He wanted me to be in them. I said, only if my son can be in them. So that was his movie debut. Yeah. Listen, when you go over there now, put it on high, whatever it is, and put some napkins over it, and keep cooking it and stirring it until it's creamy.
Hey,
and
don't stir this up.
Yeah.
All right. So,
It's
put
your
it in
first
for a
shot.
minute, then stir it, and you got it. Phil St. John says it's going to be good.
16.
Are we okay on
Oh,
time?
we're good. We're good. Are we okay on time? I mean, hey, like when you made this before, all you had was time, right?
Yeah,
So it
that's
wasn't
good.
really. You didn't have to be anywhere. No, we're good. We got to do it right. Okay. And getting back to the actual recipe, and so you chopped up the whole
Recipe.
block,
Everything.
but you chopped up the whole block of cheese.
Yeah.
And so then, how much milk do you put in with the cheese?
Just until it's creamy.
Okay.
Looks like about a cup.
All right.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to get people, that want to prepare this for Thanksgiving or
Hit it.
Anything
get
else?
it creamy, and you don't want to put too much milk.
Oh, they want to watch the Chiefs.
right.
But you want
That's
to
right.
put enough.
And so Gary was one of the guys that had you under surveillance.
Yeah.
Surveillance.
He said, I knew who you was, but you didn't know who I was. I said, ha, ha, ha.
Right.
It's real funny.
Right.
So, but he's a nice guy. I mean,
Right.
I meet him for coffee like once a week, and you know how many podcasts he made. And then he had you do the second documentary,
I did the voiceover, the narration for a documentary about voter fraud back in the 40s and 50s in
and
Kansas
all this
City.
was real.
Hasn't come out
It
yet, and
all
so there you
happened.
go. There's a big
It'll
reveal.
come out the 15th of November at Crown Center Theater.
Oh,
So,
I didn't know that. Wow. Thank
and
you.
anyway, we did that, and then I told him, I said, well, I got to get my son in this documentary. So, and this is a true story. Of all guys, we played cops. He's an undercover agent. I'm an undercover agent. And we did it at Kelly's. We shut Kelly's
You
down.
can go to hell for that.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
And where it was supposed to be what? It was at
It was
Kelly's
supposed
in
to be the
Westport.
Red Apple Strip Bar in Kansas, but
Right.
it's no longer.
Right.
So we did the deal in
We filmed it at Kelly's in Westport,
at
right.
Kelly's. So this gal, he asked me, he said, you know anybody that's got some old cars, like old Lincolns? I know a guy's got 30 of them. He said, you kidding? I don't kid about shit like that. And I do. Brad Wilson
Right.
got 30 of them, maybe more. You think he'll let us use one? I said, he'll do whatever I ask him to do. He's a good friend. He says, you know any strippers?
Oh boy.
I said, I can find a stripper. That's no problem. So we got him a stripper. So they started filming, and Steven's sitting there, and I'm sitting there. So the gal comes over and want to give him a lap dance. And he's going like this, Mike, because, he's a cop. He can't
That's
take
it's part of the script.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
whatever. He was
Or
scared.
Susan would have killed you.
Part of the script. Oh.
So he's going like this. He's going like this. And then they pan to me, and I'm laughing and pointing at him because I'm his senior. And then another part of the movie, and this is all true. This all happened. A guy robbed a meat market. Well, it was a little bit more than a meat market, but he robbed a bunch of money. And so Stephen was the guy that owned the meat market. Okay. So the robber brought him out. Now this is at 27th and 28th and Prospect at 9 o'clock.
No, first I was gonna be. I ended up being the guy that held him up and put him in the trunk. I put Brad in the trunk for the documentary.
No,
remember?
No. We're going to put you in the trunk, And you said, Dad, I ain't getting in no trunk.
Yeah.
The hell with that. I don't want in that trunk.
Well,
So I
I
told
really
Brad,
didn't want
I
to go in the
said, Brad,
trunk.
you got to get in the trunk. He won't
Right.
go because he's really grew up around that stuff, and he knew. He
If
knew
you in the
that-
trunk, you're in
yeah.
trouble.
He knew that shit was real.
Right.
So he didn't want to get in the trunk, so we put Brad in there. So it was funny. I mean,
You want to give the name of the documentary? I mean, you can watch it on Amazon.
brothers
It's a-
against brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the second documentary, he named it, but I can't remember it. And I says, "What am I doing in there?" He said, "You're killing somebody." I said, "Oh, Jesus!" Now this all happened. I mean, this is a documentary. It's not just a movie.
And again, this is about in the 40s and the 50s
Yeah.
and voter fraud
Well,
and
they
everything.
just had this voter fraud. That's the mob or whoever got in there and got the votes, changed everything around. So this woman, she had a fruit market, true story, and she knew everybody that was involved because she had somebody staying at her boarding house that knew, and she found out. So they heard her husband was at Leavenworth, and they heard she was going to try to get him out. So they seen her going up the stairs at the FBI building downtown. Okay, and so they knew what she was doing. So they said, "We got to kill this gal." So my job was she went back to fruit market, and I got the fruit market too, by the way, on 24 Highway, and she was in front, selling fruit. So I pulled up in like a 1938 Dodge two-door coupe and had a suit on, and I got out, Jack went in the chamber, and I blew her away. And so,
And this is a documentary, by the
Yeah.
way. This
Oh,
didn't
okay.
actually happen. Just,
so she showed me the deal, and I said, "Where's my face?" Steve, he said, "They never did find out who it was. Wasn't this in the damn 30s? They can't get me now." He's laughing. I said, "That's okay, but that's he's real about everything." So he said we didn't want to show the face because,
Cold case.
they are, and so that was kind of cool. But he knows his stuff. He really, and he makes a lot of documentaries.
so we're waiting on the cheese to come out
Are
of
you a little scared
the
about what's
kitchen.
spilled back in the?
Yeah. I mean, it could be.
Should I run over and check on
you,
it?
you might want
That's
to.
not a bad idea. Yeah.
And so, again, thank you for joining us on this rather lengthy episode of Hot Mic with
It is.
SSJ.
But it's worth it. Trust me.
I think so,
My
and we're
taste buds said it's worth it.
gonna ultimately get the Jailhouse Nachos
I'm so
coming up. Should we pause things and catch back up? All right, let's just do that. Okay, we have the cheese out of the microwave. Okay, and Dad, so take it from here. Where are we at with the Jailhouse
Okay,
Nachos?
We got the cheese, and we're going to pour it over the chips and the vegetables. And you just got to remember, this is after you get it. It's like a sore dick. You can't beat it. Okay.
Mike, what do you say about that? That's a very unique way to
The
describe
man
the-
just tells the truth. That's
That's
all.
exactly right. Okay, so what's good? You're pouring the hot
it in.
cheese into the
the-
trash bag.
The trash bag.
And again, if you're listening to this on the podcast, you're gonna have to like and subscribe and check this out on the Hot Mic with SSJ YouTube page, so you could see the actual process of making
Man,
the jailhouse
this is gonna be
nachos.
good.
Oh boy!
I ain't gonna say it's worth going to jail over.
No.
but It's good if you can get it out here.
Come here, Todd. Come in here.
I think.
Just come in here, Todd.
Speaking
Lebo's
of
here. Look at
speaking
this.
of needing to go
Look
to
at
jail,
this. Now look at this. Here we go. Look at this. You're walking
we've
right
got a
in
meeting.
when it's all. Lebo, how does that look to you? You're gonna eat some.
In jail.
What?
How'd you heat it up in jail?
he's stuck in his
In
pants.
the microwave. We had microwaves.
Oh, in a
Now,
microwave
here's
jail.
what I want you to do. Okay? Hang on a second, and I'll give you some. Take to your meeting.
Lebo wanted to know if.
There's the head of the,
Oh,
here's,
and
here's
my
the head of the
wife. Hey,
household.
You're on
Head of the
camera. Get in
household.
here. That's all
Get
right.
in here, Sue.
She's hiding now.
Come on. Come
Sue's
on.
in here.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to if you don't want
You're
to.
gonna
All right.
have Phil do that.
Yeah.
Phil, shake it up. So Todd wanted to know if you had a low carb version when you were low carb or.
Yeah, he's on a diet.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what. Todd looks good anyway.
and how about that?
You
mean,
do
real
re-
hungry.
you do realize you losing all this
Steve-
weight is just going to make your head look bigger. Okay, I'm just saying.
I'm losing
All right, so you're shaking up the
Not
chips
enough.
and the
Shaking it up.
vegetables and the cheese. You got, and this is an important step in the process,
Now
right?
you
You
want
got
to take a look in there?
to shake it up right. Phil St. John, step in here. What's your reaction to watching your grandfather do all this? And this?
It's
You might want to do this out at college.
Right. Is this something you'd like to do on the campus at
Look at
UMKC
that.
for the business school, for Block Business
It's
School?
like the
think so,
South
man.
Yeah,
baby.
Look
look
at
at
that. Look at that. Oh.
Come on, Todd, get
That's
in there.
good.
Look at that,
I gotta
Todd.
get my bowl.
Okay.
Your bowl's right here.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. That's
You
right.
got to eat like the rest of us.
Jeez. That's what happens when you come late to the party, you know.
And what could I do with this in prison?
You can
Fork.
eat
I
that.
can do some work
You
with
could
this,
eat
huh?
with it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
could
he
eat
did this
with
all
it.
with razor
Okay,
blade,
here.
by the way. He didn't use a knife or anything.
Okay.
Here,
Use
put
the
that
knife.
over. You can put
No.
that right.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to.
That's right.
Use the bowl to serve that into the Dorito bags.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like a little.
look at that.
Now, this is like a sore dick. You can't beat it.
Well, here,
Oh,
there it
yeah.
is. There.
That's exactly right. You say that in the microphone, Steve.
Oh, he
I'm not
loves
sure
it.
if I heard that.
He's yeah.
Yeah,
That's,
they-
Give me a
heard
fork.
it.
Like a sore dick, you can't beat it.
there we
Man,
go. That's
Oh, I've been waiting for 5
Okay.
years for this.
Mike Boddicker with
I've
the
been waiting
jailhouse
5
nachos.
Yeah,
years for
sorry
this.
it took so long.
Well, hopefully it was worth it.
Well, every time I asked Steve, I said, "When's your dad coming in?" He'd go, "Don't know where he's at right
One
now.
No,
scoop,
he's-
Steve. I
Don't know
He
where he's.
said-
I think
Mike
he's in
Boddicker,
California. I think
Jailhouse
That's
nachos, come on.
That's plenty. That's plenty. Oh, these are hot.
Oh gosh, that's good.
Well, sometimes you call me like I'm in Wyoming. I'm in New Orleans. Like I don't know where the hell you are half the
By
time.
the way,
Oh gosh.
where's my daughter-in-law?
I don't think she wanted to be on camera. She's go yell at her. Tell her to get in here.
Susan.
Come on, Sue, get in here.
Run away. She ran down the hall.
Give your dad a fork.
She's hiding in my office.
Oh my God, this is good.
I said she don't want to part of this shit. I forgot you cuss on these.
Mmm.
Don't you cuss on this your podcast.
Is
You
it
say,
good?
man, this
Oh,
is, you say this is a good fucking shit.
Fabulous, fabulous.
How is it?
Mm.
I gotta take a picture of this. So then, would they give you? So you had like, rec time, or whatever else. Did you didn't have to eat this during lunch? Or you guys just be able to,
Take it
to
all.
enjoy this in the dorms or whatever at your leisure and have just
Well, you
little
know what?
nacho
when
party?
we had time off, you know.
right. All right. Well,
Do you realize how long I had to wait to get my nacho party to go home? Jesus, I didn't think it'd ever come.
oh, so you had a nacho party when you were leaving.
Well, sure.
You know this is gonna make me sneeze.
Right.
I get anything hot, I sneeze.
That's all right.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Lebo, get into the mic there.
It's a very good batch.
Okay.
Well, thank you, sir.
Phil, you're gonna have to try these. I know Phil's a kind of a fitness freak, and so he doesn't eat
Here, Phil.
bad. But you know what? He's gonna make an exception here for the
Pepper.
Where's
jailhouse
Susan?
nachos.
You're on one part of this.
Get in here, Sue.
She left. She went down the hallway.
Ben Messner is enjoying. He's been working hard behind the camera, and now he gets to enjoy.
Yes, he did.
Who else is here? Do you think wants some jailhouse nachos? Who's in the?
I'll go find out.
Hey, go find out who wants some. And so, Dad, again, for the people that are tuning in late or already forgot, give us the shopping list. What are the things, if they're going to go to the store, what do they need to pick up if you want to make some holiday jailhouse nachos for all the friends and family? Give us the rundown and tell us the right stuff to get, the specific
Bell
stuff.
peppers,
Uh-huh,
tomatoes,
right?
hot peppers. It could be jalapenos, serrano, whatever. Onion, and Velveeta cheese.
And
quite
the milk?
naturally.
And you can get you can use whatever Doritos you want.
And garbage bags.
Right. Garbage bags.
And get milk when you mount that. Want me to get one for Susan?
Yeah, sure. Phil, step in here. Tell us what would you come on, step in. What would you think? What do you think?
It's really good.
This is the first time you've heard all these years about your grandfather's jailhouse nachos. Does it live up to all the hype? Is it something that you'd like to have again? Is it better than you thought? Worse than you thought? Tell us what you think.
It's way better than
Huh?
I expected. I didn't think nachos could be this good. They're really good.
Phil St. John didn't think nachos could be this good. What about that ringing endorsement from your grandson? Doesn't that
I
make you
think
feel
it's the
good?
best. Just eat them out here, not in jail.
Right. That's exactly right.
I ain't never got to worry about him.
There's
So
no
we're-
one in the hallway.
We're
It's
about
as empty as a jailhouse yard at night.
That's
Wow,
right.
how about
That's right.
that?
And that is pretty empty.
So we're about ready to wrap things up. Mike Boddicker, any final words on this episode of Hot Mike with SSJ?
Susan.
Yeah, here, just put this around. Give me.
It was worth the wait.
Worth the several
Thanks, my
years
friend.
wait
I
is
don't
what
care
you're
if
saying.
you're dirty.
All for you, Mike.
Phil, take this to your mother.
Every
All right?
time you
Say hello
told
to your
me,
mother
he said,
for me.
You know, I got to get out there and do it.
All right. My dad, Steve St. John Sr., final word from you on this episode of the Jailhouse Nachos.
Thank you for letting me come out here and do this.
It feels good to be able to make these and then get in the car and drive away, right? Because that wasn't something you
Yeah.
experienced in the past, right?
And a little note at the end,
Okay, here, this is good.
and I don't mean to embarrass you,
You do it anyway.
but
so.
I'm retired and I've been running with my son for the last 3 weeks. And I'm going to tell you, I had no clue that he did everything he did. I knew he worked a lot. He donates his time, and I tell you, I'm so proud of him. I wish I was like him when I was his age, because he's a good dad, a good husband. He's just a good guy, and that's it.
Well, how about
I think you're like pigeon shit. You're just everywhere.
absolutely? Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Lebo like that. How about this? One of the reasons why I am the way I am is because of you. So you get to take credit for that. How about that? Phil's laughing. He doesn't, And I
I
look at
can't
this.
believe you knew all this stuff about the hidden compartments and all. You never mentioned that to me.
I don't know what.
Come on.
When's that come in conversation? There's a lot of stuff I haven't mentioned. No,
Wow.
I think I got to save a lot of material for upcoming episodes of Hot Mic with SSJ. Are we good?
Tell
That's
'em.
it. Everyone got the jailhouse
Tell
nachos.
'em.
Lebo, thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
What did you say, Dad? Final
Told
word.
Mike about. I told you. I said there ain't no money hid anywhere. And when I went away, Steve's come up there and see me. He said, "Hey, FBI was at the house. He's asking me where the money's hid." I said, "I told you there ain't no money." And he said, "Dad, where's it hid?"
Hey, I wanted to know. Hey, I said I'm not bugged. Just tell me the truth.
You're not
All
going
right.
to use it for a while.
That's
Yeah,
exactly
I'm not
right. So that's another episode of Hot Mic with SSJ. Like us and subscribe on YouTube and download the podcast wherever you download your favorite podcast. But remember, this is the one you got to watch on YouTube. Until next episode, the mic is off.